found my perfect sound. Can you see the fire in my eyes? Bitch, it's burning out. Lightning in a bottle. I think I just found my perfect sound. Can you see the fire in my eyes? Bitch, it's burning out.
Yo, how you living? How you feeling? How you doing? It's First Shorts Fantasy. We are back.
I heard you botched that. You're not letting you off the hook for that one.
What did I botch? What did I do?
You fuckhead.
Yeah,
You messed up the words.
you switched them up.
All right. Ed's been released.
Of
Brandon
his
and I
duties.
today. We're gonna go back and revisit our worst episode for some reason because we're idiots.
Worst
I'm
episode,
not saying
best
I'm not saying.
players. There we go.
No, honestly, we're moving forward. We're gonna have a rule that like there's no picking the top guys because all of us just kind of picked a couple big names and then like Ed and I took a couple shots and Ed's shot landed, my shot.
I think
Didn't really
mine
go.
were average. Lower.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Still big names, but
as I say, I mean, Woods was coming off of a down year. Eckler was coming off of fantastic. I guess I'm spoiling it, aren't I? We're talking about the flagpole today.
whoa.
That episode sucked. Not even. Not
Hopefully
denying it.
the flagpole
from
recap
it.
will be a little better.
All right, let's do some recap. And we're just going to do this. I'm going to start with mine. Miles Sanders was my first. And I'm going to group him together. I don't know what that was, but all right. I'm going to group him together with Clyde Edwards-Helaire because Clyde Edwards-Helaire was another one of mine. And I feel like him and Sanders just kind of had the same season in that they were injured for bits and pieces of it. And I would have preferred to see them get the ball a little more, especially in the case of Mr. Sanders, who you could make the case was, I don't know, maybe the least or most underutilized running back in NFL history last season. If anyone wants to argue about that, I'm here. Anyone?
I'm not going to argue that.
No,
I do like the Boston Scott usage. I think that was useful to our winning team.
Our 4-12 Eagles team.
Led by Boston Scott.
No. In terms of flagpoles, I mean, I don't know what to say because if you were in a redraft and you took these guys like 1 and 2, you probably lost unless you traded them or something. But like as dynasty owners of these players, I'm pretty excited about it. So I mean, depends how you're looking at it. I'd love to have them moving forward. I think both of them like have the very strong chance of being RB1s next year. I mean, I feel like Sanders should be as long as he stays on the field and our new coach realizes that he's talented. But you never know. They might just decide to, only give him the ball 7 times a game because, hey, why not? You got to keep him fresh. It's got to be fresh for next season, guys. No. Again. I feel like CEH, I mean, rookie syndrome. Now he's in his second year. He'll probably get the ball a lot. At least that's my thoughts.
I think so too.
I feel like, I mean, I haven't, like, at some of the early mock drafts I've seen, people have been pegging him as a first rounder. What do we think? First rounder?
No, I can't do it.
Which one? CEH?
Yeah.
Oh, I
feel
wouldn't
like-
take him first round personally.
I feel like he'll be in that area, late first.
Early second.
Early second, mid second, I think.
Yeah, that's where I would look at on that.
You gotta give it. Wait a little bit. Wait till the hype train starts moving. Wait
Oh
until
yeah, that's true.
talking his ass up in summer, and he'll be going top 7.
Probably.
My other flagpole, who maybe he got left out a little too long, too much time in the oven. Hayden Hurst. I mean, pretty sure he was like a tight end 1, but then again, all you had to do to be a tight end this season was show up, fucking play. So that's not really saying a whole lot. If you were counting on this man, he
I
gave
think
you
I
8.
heard somewhere that all the tight end 1s, all you had to do was score like I think it was like 7.8 points or something like that a week, and you'd be a tight end 1.
I'd buy that because when I was doing the like award stuff, I had to go through and check where everyone finished. Every week it was like the tight end 6 was like 8 points. Okay. I mean, there were weeks where like the tight end like 10 was legitimately having like 5 points.
Yeah.
Oh, I caught 2 passes for 40 yards. Thanks.
And as
Yeah,
the owner, you're like defeated, but yet
so pissed off.
how much can you ask for?
Unless your name is Darren Waller, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, T.J. Hawkinson, Mark Andrews sometimes. Who am I missing?
Logan Thomas.
Dallas Goddard,
Occasionally, Dallas Goddard, occasionally Hunter Henry, occasionally
Jonnu Smith in the beginning of the year.
Smith for like a month. See, that's the thing, man. There's so many quality tight ends out there, but none of them did shit more than like 1 week at a time. I forgot Robert Tunyon. He was like the tight end like sick because he had like a couple 35-point weeks for some reason. I'll be honest. I went the whole season thinking that he was that guy that they drafted in the third round. And all I did in the offseason was give the Packers shit for taking a fullback in the third round. So I was pissed off all year that this fucking.
He's been in the league for what, like 5 years?
Yeah, then I finally looked into this because I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna not be a lazy piece of crap, and I'm gonna find out where this guy came from. And he's already been in the NFL. I've never even heard of it.
Has he always been on the Packers? Or
yeah.
Yeah.
All I know is that the dude that the Packers took in the third round, I can't remember ever seeing him at the game. So I would like to hereby go back and like pat myself on the back for that criticism because, yeah, I don't know who that guy. Although giving him like 2 years and that guy will probably make the Pro Bowl. I don't know where Tunyon came from. I forget. Maybe I think it might have been like a mid-round pick a few years ago. I don't. Dude's here all of a sudden.
Just
I don't know.
Appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. All right, Ed, I'll let you get into these. Ed went with Amari Cooper, Ronald Jones, and Calvin Ridley, which maybe this sums up this NFL season, but I feel like out of all those guys, Cooper was the biggest, like, well, duh, and then what do you know?
Yeah. So Cooper, right? I liked him. I liked him a lot.
You were in love with this man. What did you say about him? He would be a wide receiver, or didn't you say he would? Yeah, top 10. I thought it was more
top 5.
ballsy than that.
I said top 5.
I think you were. I remember it being very like.
Now, I believe I remember you saying that he could very well finish top 5. In your defense, no one saw Dak, breaking his ankle.
Exactly.
And no one assumed that like Cooper just wouldn't be able to catch passes from Andy Dalton. I don't know what that was all about. I mean, pretty sure he had some decent weeks down the stretch, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that month that their team was just in the shithole, like just pretty much gave everyone a bad like
taste in their mouth.
They suck. Like after I watched Arizona just literally walk up and down the field against them like they were playing against a group of fourth graders. I was like, oh, and I just stopped paying attention. And then Cooper probably had a decent end of the year. I think Lamb did some stuff, but
yeah, Lamb showed flashes.
I wanna note this though. I did say that Cooper would not be volatile this year. He had his fair share of volatility. I think he had 2 games below. Yeah, 1 game with 2 catches, 23 yards, so 4 points ish, and then a game with 1 point against the Eagles, nonetheless, which is fucking hilarious. But yeah, nobody's seen that coming. The Dak injury. The first 3 weeks he was top 5. I think he was wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
Right after that, Dak got hurt and fucked them all up.
They were on the path of having 3,000-yard receivers, weren't they? On pace for that. I'm pretty sure. I remember hearing that at the time of his injury.
Yeah, they were snapping. Hopefully, Dak comes back, not for an Eagles fan's sake, but fantasy-wise, I like Lamb and Cooper.
We're going to suck next year anyway. I hope they tag him again.
Yeah.
Hopefully that offense gets back to what it was the first 3 weeks. Yeah, that was Amari Cooper. Then my second one, Ronald Jones, Mr. Rojo. Big fan of him, obviously, way back when. Nobody really saw fucking Leonard Fournette getting released. That was obviously a slap in the face, kind of shocking to me. And then coming to the Bucks, of all teams, right?
And then, only to play once a month.
I was rewatching that video, and I was just like sitting there. I was like, Bruce Arians said he was the guy, so he's the guy. And I was so confident. I was like, yeah, he is. And then all of a sudden, just Leonard Fournette.
It's the Brady effect, man. Anywhere Brady goes, the running backs are just immediately thrown into a blender.
Yeah, literally.
Like, I mean, Rojo had his weeks. He had his moments.
Oh, you did. He
Yeah,
did.
yeah, he definitely did.
He
And
had
then Fournette had his moments.
15, 14, 25, 10, 23, 17, 15, 14. Those are some good games. Obviously,
I remember I traded him, and I was disappointed that I did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he was one of those guys that I was big on coming into the season who I inexplicably dumped before the season.
I wasn't big on him. I drafted him really late, and I was like, oh, I can get some value out of him after he had a few good games. And then I realized that the running backs this year were just devastated. I mean, I think there's like 6 or 7 rookies in the top like 24,
I believe it.
like rookie running backs. So like that doesn't normally happen. So there's just so many injuries. Like my flagpole, Austin Eckler, just got destroyed with injury, comes back halfway through the season, and but that's how
There's
fantasy
that
works.
whole, hey, he might be back soon. Hey, he might be back soon. Hey, he's
Yeah, I
not.
know. It's like he's going back against the Jets. He's going back
It's
against
like
this. No.
classic Joe Mixon move. That hey, he's
Oof.
might
No,
play this.
no one did it better than Joe Mixon.
He might play. I don't want to blame Mixon. I blame the team. I can't blame the guy for getting hurt. But like, why do
Oh,
you
yeah.
say, well, he might play this week. He might play this week. We got a bye coming up. We might hold him out until after the bye. We might hold him out the additional 12 weeks just to be safe. But wait, that math doesn't add up there. So, well, he's thinking about playing him on this Sunday, but instead we decided next year. Next year works. See you guys there, Joe. You too. Maybe you and Mixon could do a little bonding in the trainer's tent because you're gonna get killed. Then what do
Now,
you know?
what's your expectations for Ronald Jones next season? Like, do you think he's a value in the draft? I mean, I'm not sure where he's getting drafted at, but I'm assuming where he would normally get drafted.
I would imagine like 8th round, and I probably don't want him personally, just because of the real like upside. I mean, he has his few runs, obviously, he had his few games there, whatnot, but they'll probably bring somebody else in, honestly, and probably keep Lenny, and then he'll just.
I mean, if they kept Fournette, Jones, I feel like you wouldn't have a need for another guy. I mean, they have Vaughn too. I don't.
Yeah, they would have
See, just
Vaughn.
Jones had a good season. I mean, wasn't this his 3rd season?
Yeah, I think he's
So
coming up on
this
contract
should be his
year.
last season. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they trade him high or something. I don't know. I feel like we're kind of too early in the cycle to really project that to next season. But I mean, he had a good year this year. So speaking of good years, Calvin really had the best 2 weeks ever, and then he just kind of was meh for a while.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley. Speaking of
Battled the injury bug, which is unfortunate.
Calvin Ridley was amazing. Top 4 wide receiver, speaking of which. And flagpole paid off. I think I said he was going in the 4th, maybe 5th. Somewhere.
Like
Yeah.
It was after Kenny Galladay, after Adam Thielen, and managed to finish top 3 in wide receiver, top 4, I think I just said.
Which is kind of amazing given all the time that he missed. Like, where would he have been had he been there more?
Let's look at points per game. He was still 4th, regardless. That's cool.
Top 5.
That's still good.
Yeah.
He's good.
He is good.
He's good. So is Julio Jones, but unfortunately, starting to see how that's going.
You were thinking Calvin Ridley was going to have a good season. See, I was thinking my man DJ Moore was going to have that season, but it just didn't follow through. Just going to jump right into DJ Moore a little bit. Well, in the beginning of the year, I had the expectations that Teddy Bridgewater, he targets short, DJ Moore, notoriously known for being the short threat, and then he turns into being the deep threat, and everything changed. He was one of the most top deep threats in the NFL. Had the 2nd most drops this year, although last season he only had, I think, 2 or 3, and he ranked very low on that category, so that could just be an outlier, bad season. But all around, I would say it was a disappointing season for DJ Moore. You had high expectations for him. I'm not sure if the McCaffrey injury kind of hindered his capabilities, but I mean, 2 years in a row he's had 4 touchdowns, and to be one of the premier fantasy wide receivers, you need more than 4 touchdowns from your wide receiver. I hope the best to DJ Moore moving forward. As I take my flagpole back, I will give this flagpole to another future my guy. But
I'll take the DJ Moore one. Ed, I'm gonna point out something that you pointed out to me a while ago, that like he did way better when they had a healthy offensive line.
Yeah.
I remember someone saying that throughout the season. Someone said he had like much better games when one guy was in.
Left tackle, yeah.
Wasn't in. So I mean, it makes more sense. Keep Teddy Bridgewater in the pocket more. He can throw it deep to DJ Moore.
Exactly.
I do like how Robbie Anderson came there known as a deep threat. And then everyone, let's make him the intermediate guy, and we'll just send more downfield every play.
I mean, I'm not too frustrated at it. DJ Moore to me is still interesting moving forward, but I'm not sure if it's gonna need to have a QB change for him to really turn into what we'd hope he'd be. But I mean, he's still got it. I'm not out on him, but I'm also not as thrilled about him. In the beginning of the year, I was thinking he was going to be the next big wide receiver name.
I think he will be.
I still think he has the potential, but I'm not as excited about it. And then, I mean, same feelings, but towards a running back, Austin Eckler. I had the same feelings. Really thought he was going to – I mean, he already kind of broke out, but he got injured week 5, kind of threw off his dynamic.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, kind of threw him off his track of being really good. But, I mean, he came back week 12. He was still involved in routes. He wasn't taken out of that game script. He just wasn't as effective in past years. So this season, with the rookie quarterback Herbert coming in, could play a role in it, or it could be the fact that Phillip Rivers targets running backs. Could be that. Most likely is, but I really think for Austin Eckler, I think we've seen his peak as last season being his peak. Just the fact that Phillip Rivers he's always been notorious for targeting running backs, and although Austin Eckler's involved in the same game plan as he's always been, it's just a different quarterback, and quarterbacks play a huge factor in this. So that's where I'm standing at Austin Eckler. I still, however, think his ADP may drop because of his injury and because he kind of finished the season off kind of on a low note. But I'd still be interested in drafting him if his ADP did drop from last season. Still think he will be an effective running back in fantasy. Moving on to Robert Woods. I mean, I'm just curious. What are your guys'? Because you got 2 players like Austin Eckler kind of came off an injury. DJ Moore, didn't hit expectations. But Robert Woods, he kind of had a consistent season as he always does.
I feel like Woods had that bounce back season we were kind of expecting, because I feel like the previous year was definitely a down year, and he only had 2 touchdowns, and now he probably had I don't know if he hit double figures this year, but almost felt like it.
He's becoming one of the best yak players in the NFL too. I don't know if that's something you guys know or it's common knowledge, but last season he was ranked number 2, and this season he was ranked number 4 for yards per catch. Yards after the catch, I mean.
Gotcha.
So I'm excited for Woods. I'm excited for Matthew Stafford's arrival. I think that he is going to. I don't know. This Rams team with that defense, they should be fun to watch. They should be back to what they were looking like during the Super Bowl without Jared Barf throwing the ball.
Jared Barf.
So, out of all my flagpoles, I think moving forward in a redraft standpoint, I would say Robert Woods is my most excited flagpole.
Yeah, it's funny because like he had the same amount of catches as the year before, and like 200 less yards, but I believe he had like 6 more touchdowns, or like 5, 5 or 6. That does make a big freaking difference. And what does that? I feel like that's a good that's a good example of fantasy football. Sometimes it's just a ditch. Sometimes you get a great player and he doesn't score at all. Like DJ Moore. DJ Moore can have a 10 touchdown effort next campaign and be a top 5 receiver.
Yeah, and then the next year follows it up with 4 again. So out of your guys' flagpoles, which one would you feel confident about moving forward with?
Anyone but Hayden Hurst, because I don't care anymore. He might still be a tight end 1 next year.
Next season, after you said that, he's going to pop off.
Probably will. I mean, like, tight ends, man. He should go to Green Bay. That's the way to go.
He'll get to Houston.
Oh, no.
No, it's not.
What about you, Ed?
Nobody go to Houston.
It's got to be Calvin Ridley. Come on.
None of them. I mean, as far as confidence, as far as like performing like they did this year, none of them. Ridley, top 5. I don't think it's going to happen next year. Maybe this is an uneducated opinion, right? So Arthur Smith's their new head coach, right? He was offense coordinator for the Titans, correct? Obviously, you have Derrick Henry, so you have to kind of run the ball a lot, right? I don't know how their play calling lined up.
I was gonna say, I would hope that Arthur Smith was just like running a play action heavy, strong on the run game, like because it was their strength. I would really hope he's not going to go over to Atlanta and be like, well, we've got all these good receivers, so why don't I run the ball with Ito Smith 45 times a game?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my thought process is they bring in a running back and they pass less than they did last year, pretty much what I'm thinking. Julio's back as well, so obviously Target's going to get siphoned out of Ridley. And I don't know. He's cool. He's a nice piece. I've been wanting him, but I don't know.
Ridley scares me because he like is just consistently battling some sort of injury.
That too. Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
That's frightening for me. Is a guy who plays fantasy football on his phone.
And Amari Cooper, I'm not too confident moving forward. I mean,
No.
meh.
I would be, but I don't like the Cowboys, so I'll take Ridley.
That's fair. Ronald Jones is definitely no for me.
Ooh, you went from in love with that man to him having a breakout season, and then you're like, no.
Granted, he's a beautiful runner. I just don't trust the place that he's at. That's it. If he was maybe, I don't know, if he was on a team that didn't change up like they did this past year, yeah, for sure. Like if they didn't bring in Leonard Fournette and say he did perform like he did.
What if they trade Ronald Jones to Jacksonville? They take Fournette's spot.
They have
Ruin James Robinson's career.
yeah.
Then they split carries with both down the middle.
I don't know. If I had both those guys, I'd go
Yeah.
with James Robinson.
I don't know. They're
They're
both
an NFL team.
Ronald Jones is he's great. He's great. Like, there's no doubt about the talent. Let's be real about that. But obviously, he's probably not matching James Robinson, but he's got his talent. I'm upset that he's with the Buccaneers, but it is what it is.
Like both of them are good. I don't know. I only saw Robinson like twice, so I'm not really prepared to put forth a legitimate argument as to why he's better than someone else.
Yeah.
That's fair.
He's definitely not worthy of Justin Jefferson in Dynasty. Anyway, I guess is that all we got?
I think that's all we got.
My flagpoles. What's next week's episode?
Next
Not
week.
flagpoles.
Yeah.
Alex, do you want to say it? You want to say next week's episode?
Oh, we're gonna talk about how some dudes did at the end of the season. We're gonna argue about it, hopefully. Hopefully we don't all agree. And if we do all agree, I'll just change my opinion that episode to arguing. Brandon, you're stupid. Brandon, you're stupid. And that's our sneak preview of next week. See you then.
Like, comment, share, subscribe. Deuce.
I don't like this ending very much.
That sucks.